Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fogg's Cards and Things. Today we're going to do the second part of our Pinnacle Premier Edition 1992 Major League Baseball cards. Yesterday we did Series 2. The reason we started with Series 2, and hopefully it proved to be accurate, Series 2 had a lot less polls from everything I'd heard from others who have done it. And Series 1, was a little better according to them. So hopefully that's what we find here when we go through these cards. So as you can see on the front, looks like Craig Biggio on the front of these cards here. Put out by the Score Company, sort of as their premier edition, like a higher value card. So without further ado, let's get into this and see what we can find here. Some of the cards we found yesterday, we found a couple Griffies. Looks like there's the popular black mark on the left side. Gem grade on that one is worth $275. But we had the one that was messed up a little bit. I'm trying to get the 4 different variations we have here. So it looks like we have Will Clark on the front of some of them, Kirby Puckett here, Cover Boy, Mr. Ripken himself, and that's the 4th one there. So we're going to go ahead and get into these here. We'll probably do about 4 at a time. Actually, hold on just a second. Let me get ready. As most of you know, or if you've watched any of our streams here, we always wear gloves when we pull them. That way, if you decide to bid on them when we put them on the eBay store, if it's something you want from the chat here, send a comment, let me know. We'll see if we can work something out to get you any cards that you might like. Any cards that we pull have never been touched by us. That's kind of a bad sign. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can focus this here. The corner of one of those cards is already messed up a little bit. Like I said, we'll try to do 4 packs at a time so this video doesn't take too long. I still think it'll be around 45 minutes or so. Did you ever open any of these cards when you were a kid? If so, what was your favorite one? And hopefully we'll get it. Maybe we can get you a nice one here. I hear that they kind of get a little stuck. Alright, let's see what we can find here. Alright, Travis Fryman, Benito Santiago, Terry Pendleton, Hal Morris, Robin Yount, that's probably not a bad card right there. Brian Barber on the draft pick, Jerome Walton, got the Cardinals second baseman there, Mo Sanford on the rookie prospect. If you take a look at these cards, one of the reasons they're hard to get graded is this black border. There's the one that we pulled out. You can see that just on the edge there, that card. That may not have been something that was going to stick. But the black edges make it hard to grade these. But on the back, the white border with the stats from the previous year. Got a prospect there. And Tim Raines, that's another one, not a bad card there. Frank Tatana. Bud Black. And we got 2 there. Skeeter Barnes, Chris Hoyles, Omar Vizquel, Mickey Morandi, Paul Malidor. That's probably not a bad card either. Lenny Dykstra. Fun to watch, fun to collect there. I always enjoyed seeing his cards. Kind of had a funny personality there. Matt Williams. We got a sidelines card here. And who do we have? Dwight Smith. And he's a singer. So that's the base variation. You can tell it's part of the base, usually just because it has a sequential number, so 293 there on that base sidelines. And shades. These are a neat variation with the player in the reflection of their glasses. And that's Darryl Strawberry on the shades. That's a cool card right there. We've got Spike Owen, Cal Eldred on the prospect there, Carlos Garcia, Felix Jose, Jim Wallach, Randy Milligan, Man Waring, Terry Mulholland, the Twins first baseman there, Matt Noakes, Bernard Gilkey, Greg Vaughn, Dan Steeb, Barry Larkin. Always like Barry's cards. Manny Ramirez got a first round draft pick there. That's probably a decent card. And we got another shades. Who do we got here? Looks like from the Mets here. Oh, Bobby Bonilla. Mr. $1 Million himself. It's either June 1st or July 1st every year. He gets a $1 million check. I think he did it for 20 years by deferring $7 million of his contract there. Athletics pitcher. Arthur Rhodes. Kevin Tapani. John Smiley. Pete Harnish. Mike Messina. It's not a bad card, maybe. We'll keep that to the side. Norm Charlton. Chuck Finley. Another good pitcher during that time. Ivan Calderon. Orlando Merced. That's not a bad card. Blue Jays first baseman. Dave Forgetti. Juan Guzman. Good pitcher for the Rangers. Who do we got here with the Idols card? Got Wally Joyner with Dale Murphy on the Idols card. We would have kept that anyway because of being a Royal. Anybody who knows me knows I keep all those. John Farrell. Darryl Kyle. Todd Stottlemyre. That's a decent card. Scott Survey. Andre Dawson. Another fun player to watch from that time. Jose Canseco. Definitely a good card there, Mr. Canseco. Savo. Julio Franco. Definitely a fun one to watch from that time in Major League Baseball. And Tommy Green. I'm going to open up 4 more packs here. Have you opened any of these before? As a kid, or even from just this time frame? Do you have any favorite players? Anybody that you enjoyed watching? I'm going to try to do 4 at a time here. Try to keep this from being over an hour long. I still think it'll be probably about 45 minutes to get through this box. There's a lot of cards in these boxes. As I said before, if there's something you like, drop a comment. Let me know what you're interested in. We'll see if we can work out something to get you that card, or specific teams if you collect those. Alright, let's see what we're getting into here. Right on the top, another good hit here. Kirby Puckett. Center fielder for the Twins. Always loved getting Kirby's cards. Dennis Eckersley, a famously pretty good pitcher there with the Athletics. Bruce Hurst. Roberto Alomar. Another decent card here. George Brett, designated hitter. Everybody knows that's one of my favorite cards to pull. Mr. Brett there. Put him with our Royals. Kim Batiste on the 92 prospects. Nolan Ryan and Jim Abbott there on the Idols cards. Really like to see that. Always enjoyed watching Nolan Ryan pitch, and Jim Abbott was fun to watch just because he overcame so much. Cliff Floyd, Jody Reed, Zane Smith, Alan Trammell, Juan Gonzalez, Brett Butler, John Crook, another fun one to watch. Jose Offerman, definitely a fun one to watch there. Jose Offerman. Mike Sharperson, Dave Hollins, Brian Harper, Bill Gullickson, Brett Barbery, Jack McDowell, good pitcher there for the White Sox. I don't know if we can bring this a little closer and focus this here. You just see the bottom of that card. Even when you pull them fresh from the pack, sometimes they're just flawed from the factory. We've got Jack McDowell there. Cecil Fielder, another one I really enjoyed as a kid. Eric Karros, Sean Berry, prospect card with the Royals. We'll keep that one. Another Idols card here. Who do we got here? Lou Gehrig and Robin Ventura. It's a cool card. Tyrone Hill, draft pick. First baseman from the White Sox. Brian Harvey. Doug DeCenzo, maybe. Devereaux. Rob Dibble, good pitcher there for the for Cincinnati Reds. Orioles first baseman. John Franco, good pitcher there for the Mets. Terry Steinbach, good catcher there for the Athletics. Cedine Young. Doug Drabeck. Ed Whitson. Frank Thomas, that's another good pull. This already has more cards than that series too, so everything we had heard I think we're going to be correct on. Benji Gill, Jim Gott, Tony Phillips, Kevin Mitchell, Rob Moore, Joe Carter, there's another decent card. Chris Donalds, Jose De Jesus, Eric Hansen, Mark. Never knew how to say Mark's last name, but enjoyed watching him pitch there for the Royals. Willie McGee, Edgar Martinez, and Tony Pena there, catcher for the Boston Red Sox. Dressendorfer. We've got another Idols here. Who do we have here? Looks like we have Chuck Knobloch with Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith was another one of my favorites. Fun to watch, fun cards to pull. Scott Ruffcorn, Mickey Tettleton, Darren Dalton. Ooh, got a neon Deion Sanders here, first time with the Braves. Another great card. Wade Boggs. Wow, we're getting quite a few good cards here. Walt Terrell, Lee Smith. Catcher there for the Dodgers. Mark Gardner for the Expos. Well, those four packs really had some decent cards in there. Got some Royals. Got that Wade Boggs. Some of those base cards of players we all liked to see during this time. And Ozzie Smith Idols. Something else right there. Didn't see too many shades come out of that one. Out of that group of four packs. Ooh, right there, I already see a Mark McGuire. Yeah, Series 1 in the score is definitely, if you're ripping for names, during this junk wax era, we're not really ripping for value. Just so many of these cards. If you can happen to get a PSA 10 or something, maybe you can get something worth a little value, but for the most part, especially with that black edge. These are just hard to grade. Most of them are going to come back A8 for the most part, unless you just really have a gem, and it was really hard in this time to get a gem card. And Dave Henderson, Delineo DeShields, Wes Chamberlain, Ben McDonald, Walt Weiss. Got a Team Pinnacle, Barry Bonds. It's a very neat card here. It's our first insert. Got Danny Tartable on one side and Barry Bonds on the other. It's a very neat card. 8 out of 12 in that series. Andy Moda, Lance Dixon. Got the sidelines here on a motorcycle. Dirt bike, I should say. Robin Yount, they probably don't want their players riding dirt bikes these days, but that sidelines card's pretty neat. Cal Ripken Jr. I'm telling you, this box is better than the whole box that we got yesterday. Mo Vaughn, another decent card, first baseman for the Red Sox. Junior Felix. Fred McGriff, another fun player to watch from this time in Major League Baseball. Ron Gant, Langston, Juan Samuel, Browning, Andy Van Slyke, Kevin Seitzer. Of course, we're going to keep him with our Royals over there. Lou Whitaker, Albert Bell, Shane Mack, Manuel Lee, John Warner, Dave Fleming, prospect card with the Mariners there. Sidelines, who do we have here? Kenny Lofton on the sidelines. Didn't know Kenny was a basketball player. Bill Spears, Juan Guzman, Mike Harkey, Harry Shumpert, there with the Royals. And Mr. Mark McGuire. It's a good card right there. Harold Baines. Harold McReynolds, another fun player to watch there for the Mariners back in the day. Greg Olson, Ozzie Guillen, Gary Gaetti, Sean Dunston, Joel Johnson with a prospect for the Royals. Scott Brocious there for the Athletics. Sidelines, who's playing pool here? Mr. Kirby Puckett, I thought that looked like him. Didn't know he was a pool player. Alan Watson. Brian McRae. Loved watching Brian when I was a kid. Such a fun player to watch. His dad, Hal McRae, was a good player with the Royals and ended up being a manager for a while. Tino Martinez. Tony Fernandez. Robbie Thompson. Dave Stewart. Fun pitcher to watch with the Athletics there. Luis Gonzalez, Mike Moore, Ozzie Smith, another one of the greats of the time that I enjoyed watching. We're going to move some of these base hits out of there. Make a new stack here for Mr. Ozzie Smith, Ruben Sierra, Ellis Burks, Jay Bell, Chili Davis with the Twins, Lenny Webster prospect card. Oh, we got a singer here. Who do we got that's singing? Jack McDowell. Kind of a neat card there. Got a Shades finally. I said we hadn't gotten one for a while. Roberto Alomar. Shades for his time with the Blue Jays here. Again, just a neat set there with the reflection in the sunglasses. Pretty, I wouldn't say cutting edge, but for 1992, that's a pretty neat card back then. Steve Farr. Dave Volley. Oh, Jim Tomey got a rookie prospect there. That's a good hit. Larry Walker, that's a good card there. Bobby Thigpen. Doc Gooden. Really like to see old Doc there. And Marquise Grisham. There's another one that's got a little flaw. I don't know if we zoom in here, you can tell. There's just a bin there in the bottom. See it there in the reflection. So it just makes it hard to get these cards. Alright, we're going to rip 4 more packs. If you've seen anybody that you really like from this time, let me know. Let's see if we can work something out to get that for you. We're going to open up 4 more here. Got several good hits in that one. That Bobby Bonds Team Pinnacle was probably the highlight there with Danny Tartable on the other side. A good card. Danny Tartable spent some time with the Royals. Enjoyed watching him later with the Yankees. Saw a Biggio there. We'll have to get a look at that one in a second. Did you collect any players from this time in baseball? Just curious if anybody collected anything from there. If you're watching on Twitch, we have a link to our Discord where we put some of our cards before they make it to eBay. So if you're interested there, supporting the channel. Anything we make from cards usually just goes back to buying more boxes. This era is fun for me to go through, but I'm not going to make any money on those. Edgar Martinez, another J. Uner, Tony Pena there catching for the Red Sox. Bill Doran, Kevin Bass, Dressendorfer again. Oh, we got the Ozzie Smith Idols for a second time here. Scott Ruffcorn, draft pick there for the White Sox. Tettleton, decent little catcher there for the Tigers. Darren Dalton, Lee Smith, catcher there for the Dodgers. Mark Gardner for the Expos. Steve Olin, Pete O'Brien. And there's the Biggio we saw the back of earlier. Craig Biggio, another good player from that time in baseball. Doug Drabek, Ed Whitson, Frank Thomas. The hits just keep coming in this box here. Frank Thomas, first base designated hitter for the White Sox. Steve Finley, center field there for the Astros. Oral Hershiser, always enjoyed Oral there. Had some inserts from him yesterday. Vince Coleman, Kevin Mitchell, prospect there with the Braves. Moore with the Angels. Sidelines with some drawings behind him here. Let's see who this is. Tewksbury, quite the artist. I don't know if you can see those in the background there. One of them's a Ozzie. Just a neat kind of card there. Try to get that refocused. That's sidelines. Tyler Green, Bernie Williams, good center fielder there for the Yankees. Jose De Jesus, Eric Hansen, Wilson Alvarez, Jerry Brown, Jamie Navarro, Scott Erickson, pitcher there for the Twins. He was fun to watch. Carlos Barga, Devin White with the Blue Jays. Don Mattingly, probably toward the end of old Don's career there, but another one we enjoyed watching. George Bell with the Chicago Cubs. He'd played quite a while by this point here. Caminetti, Benavides. Got a singing sidelines here again. That's Dwight Smith for the Cubs. Got another Shades here. Darryl Strawberry on the Shades card. Spike Owen. Cal Eldred. Russell. Aguilera. Chuck Knobloch. Good second baseman there for the Twins. Robin Ventura, another exciting player that played during this time. Pedro Munez. Plantier. Ignazi. Gantner. Elster. Mark Lewis. Kenny Lofton there on the basketball sidelines. Got another Shades here. Who do we got here? Jay Buhner. Again, just a cool variation there. Still out of the base set, but Olivares, Steve Avery, pitcher there with the Braves. Kelly Gruber there with the Blue Jays. Paul O'Neill, right field for the Reds. All right, we're going to open up 4 more. Like I said, if you've seen anything in this rip that you've enjoyed or missing from a collection, or want the team base cards that we get out of here, see if we can't work something out. There's a John Smoltz right there. Another good one from that time in baseball. Always liked ripping cards from this time, and a lot of the stars you grow up watching. You get kind of nostalgic about it, really. You get to be an adult and you don't have as much time to collect cards or watch as many games. Sort of lose track a little bit. Well, let's get through this stack and see what we've got here. You can hear that when we open them up. They're a little stuck, but no transfer or paper loss that we've seen so far. Pat Kelly, Alex Cole, David Howard for the Royals. We'll put that in our Royals stack here. Dave Smith, Sidelines Bowling. Who do we got that's a bowler here? John Burkett. Another Shades, Chuck Knobloch. It's a good card there. That reflection in the glasses is pretty neat. Mark Leonard, Mercedes, Reuter, Greg Olson, Darrell Hamilton. This one was what do we got here? Stuck backwards there. Greg Harris, Schooler. Portugal. John Smoltz, we saw that one earlier. That's a good one from the day. Noakes, Gilkey. Greg Vaughn there with the Brewers. Steve. Barry Larkin, Andy Ashby, Jeff Carter, Manny Ramirez on the rookie card. Shades here, Bobby Bonilla. Already talked about his summertime paydays. Sam Horn, Dale Murphy, Mark Grace, first base for the Cubs. That's another good card. Mel Hall, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez there, catcher for the Rangers. Henneman, McDonald, Weiss, John Franco, relief pitcher there for the Mets. Harry Steinbeck, Cedinho, Lance Dixon. Got Robin Yount again there on the dirt bike. Benji Gill, Gott, Tony Phillips, Fred McGriff, Ron Gant, Mark Langston, Joe Carter, outfield for the Blue Jays, another fun one to watch from that time. Furman, Chris Donalds, Harold Reynolds, second base there for the Mariners, fun one to watch there. Mr. Reynolds, Olson, Ozzie Guillen, Gary Gaetti, Samuel, Bernie Williams, enjoyed watching him. Getting into some doubles here now. Joel Johnston there, prospect for the Royals. Scott Brocious, Kirby Puckett on the sidelines again. Robbie Thompson, Dave Stewart, pitcher for the Athletics. Gonzalez, Spears, Guzman. So we've only gotten that one Team Pinnacle of Barry Bonds. That was the only insert that we've gotten versus just, variants that they have within the base set. Probably you can't see most of it, but next time that we do a break, we're probably going to do the upper deck there with Joe Montana on the front with his time for the Chiefs. Of course, I'll hope for that card. Kind of neat that he came to the Chiefs for a while, although not really sure why. Probably should have just wrote it out there with the 49ers and ended his career as a one franchise quarterback. But great quarterback. I enjoyed being able to watch him play in a Chiefs uniform. But that's what we'll get into next time. Let's get into it here. We got Browning, Van Slyke, Kevin Seitzer again for the Royals, Lou Whitaker, Albert Bell, Jose Lind, Alan Watson, Shane Mack, Lee, Warner, Fleming, Harkey, Schumbert, Mark McGuire again there, Roberto Kelly, Langford, Mike Moore with the Athletics, Ozzie Smith again. Got some doubles of some of our favorite cards here. We're going to go ahead and move those up. I'll go ahead and clear out the Royals too. We got a few of those. Landrum, Ruben Sierra, Ellis Burks. Good center fielder there for the Red Sox. Jay Bell, Chili Davis, Roberto Alomar again on the Shades card. Jim Thome on the rookie prospect. Harry Gagne, Humphreys, Steve Farr, Bobby Thigpen, Doc Gooden again. Marquise Grissom there for the Expos. He was a super fast guy. Mike Greenwell, decent card. Phil Planter, Pagnazzi, Gantner, Mark Lewis, Steve Avery, pitcher with the Braves. Lenny Webster there, prospect with the Twins. Got our musician again here on the sidelines, Jack McDowell. Catcher there for the Pirates. Paul O'Neill, right field for the Reds. Olivares. Larry Walker, right fielder for the Expos. First base also. Lenny Dykstra. Matt Williams. Todd Zeal, third base for the Cardinals. Gerald Clark, rookie prospect here for the Angels. Harvey Pulliam will start the Royals back up over here. We got Nolan Ryan on the sidelines riding a horse. It's a good card right there. Danny Tartable with the Shades. Gary Sheffield, another one that was fun to watch and pull during that day. Derek Bell on the rookie prospect. That's a good card. Milligan, Manwaring, Mulholland, Magadan, Tewksbury. Alright, I'm going to get some of these base cards to the side here. I'm going to pull another 4 packs out. Getting these cards open here. Again, we got that Nolan Ryan sidelines might be worth a little bit depending on if we can get that 9 out of 10 at PSA, although these days PSA's not as friendly on the grading. I still don't understand why Beckett doesn't get a little more popular, honestly. Especially with their subgrades. So you know exactly why they didn't grade your cards the way maybe you hoped. Martinez there. Oh, dropped one there. Steve Decker. Another one that came out with just a flaw along the... Let's see if we can show these cards here. It's just hard. Don't pull these because you think a PSA 10 has money. It's usually because there were so many printed and they had errors. So again, don't buy these to try to make money. Just fun to pull, mostly nostalgia value. Paul Molitor. Sideline singing again there. That's going to be Dwight Smith. Shades for Darryl Strawberry. Spike Owen. Cal Eldred. Carlos Garcia. Robin Ventura. Muniz. Felix Jose. Tim Wallach. Todd Zeal. Gerald Clark. Herbeck. However we say that. Noakes. Harvey Pulliam again. That's the second one in a row we've gotten him. Along with another Nolan Ryan sidelines card. We won't sneeze at that. Let's go ahead and get some of these sideline cards up. Getting quite a few there in that stack. Got shades here for Danny Tartable. Gary Sheffield. Second time around seeing him. The Derek Bell prospect card. Seen that. Tewksbury. Landrum. Murphy. Mark Grace, first baseman for the Cubs. Enjoyed watching Mark play. It's always fun to watch. Devin White. Don Mattingly. George Bell. Committee. Lenny Harris. Got the shades there on old Chuck Knobloch. Mark Leonard. Luis Mercedes. Stan Royer. Benavides. Portugal. John Smoltz again there. Good pitcher there with the Braves. Jeff Russell. Aguilera. And Chuck on the base card. Alright, I think we're about 3/4 the way done here. These cards do open really easy. You don't have to put much pressure on anything at all. Alright, let's take a look at what we're getting into here. I'd like to find another one of those Team Pinnacle cards. Those inserts seem to be fairly rare. I don't think we found any in the Series 2 box we have. Alright, we've got Gilkey here. Greg Vaughn. Steve. Barry Larkin. Kirby Puckett. Dennis Eckersley. That's a little run we went on there. Andy Ashby. Jeff Carter. Manny Ramirez again on the draft pick. Good card there. Got our Bobby Bonilla Shades, the $1 Million Man, Sam Horn, Pudge Rodriguez, Mike Henneman, Depani, John Smiley, Harnish, Greg Maddux, pitcher with the Cubs right there, Darryl Strawberry, Jack Clark, again that's somebody who played for quite a while there. 335 career home runs as of this year. Dave Justice, really enjoyed watching him play. Ryan Sandberg, I think he passed away not too long ago, but definitely one of my favorites to watch. second baseman for the Cubbies. Scott Cooper, Julio Valera. Idols here, Wade Boggs and George Brett. That's a good card there. Al Shirley, Soho, Jeff Montgomery, pitcher for the Royals. Jimmy Key for the Blue Jays there. Darren Jackson, Randy Tomlin. Hurst, Roberto Alomar. Got another George Brett card. That's awesome. Love seeing that. Greg Maddux, Darryl Strawberry, Chitrin, Rhodes, Kim Batiste. Idols again there for Jim Abbott and Nolan Ryan. You can see that there. Cliff Floyd, Mike Mussina, Norm Charlton, Alan Trammell for the Tigers. I don't know if we've seen one of him yet. Trammell was fun to watch. Juan Gonzalez, Brett Butler, John Kruk, Jack Clark again, Dave Justice. I feel like we're getting into some of these that we've seen quite a few times. There's another Mr. Sandberg, Howard Johnson, fun to watch this time also. Fernandez, Reed, Smith, Cooper, Valera. There we go, another Idols. I'll put this in the Idol stack since we've already got one for the Royals. Jose Offerman, fun one to watch there. Shortstop, quick guy. Mike Sharperson, Jeff Montgomery, pitcher for the Royals. Jimmy Key. Alright, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packs left. That'll take us to the end here. See if we can get anything else here. It'd be nice to get another one of those Team Pinnacles. The inserts there. Bonds on one side, Danny Cardwell on the other for the one we did pull. If you've hung around this long, I certainly appreciate it. Helps the algorithms, the more people watch, and the more people to watch, hopefully the more packs we'll be able to rip and maybe get you guys some cards from some of these breaks that we do here. Steve Finley there on the front. Another Oral Hershiser. I can't tell if that's on the front of the card. Or Vince Coleman, Harold Baines, Harold Reynolds. Got our artist again here on the sidelines. Whoops. Straighten that out a little bit. Tyler Green, Bernie Williams, fun to watch there. Sean Dunston, Joel Johnson on the prospect there for the Royals again. Wilson Alvarez, Jerry Brown, Jamie Navarro, Brian McRae again. Tino Martinez, Fernandez, Doran, Kevin Bass, Dave Hollins, Brian Harper, Bill Gullickson, Brett Barbary for the Expos there. Eric Karros, prospect. Sean Berry, prospect with the Royals. We've got Lou Gehrig and Robin Ventura again for the Idols. Tyrone Hill, Steve Olin, Pete O'Brien, Craig Biggio. That's a good card there. I liked old Craig Biggio when he was playing. Brian Harvey, Doug DeCenzo, Jack McDowell, Cecil Fielder again, Dave Henderson, Lino DeShields, Wes Chamberlain, Tim Naring, Andy Moda, Lance Dixon, Robin Yount on his motorcycle again for the sidelines, Benji Gill, Mike Devereaux, Rob Dibble, Cal Ripken Jr. Love to see that. Mo Vaughn, another fun one to watch there. Alright, we're down to our last 2 packs. I think it's getting a little clear. We're probably not going to get another one of those Team Pinnacles. Let's go through these last two packs. Again, I appreciate it. Drop a comment if there's something here you'd like. We can try to work something out. Jeff Bagwell there for the Astros. Tom Glavine, pitcher for the Braves. Roger Clemens. I do think that is our first Clemens card out of this. Travis Fryman, Benito Santiago, Jerome Walton there. Mo Sanford, Gary Scott. Idols here. Wally Joyner and Dale Murphy. Tim Raines, another good card. Pascal Perez. Tanana, Bud Black, Skeeter Barnes, Howard Johnson with the Mets there. Alex Fernandez, Rafael Palmeiro. It's another fun one to watch. Nolan Ryan. Love watching Nolan Ryan play. Rollers. Oh, Tom Gordon there, pitcher for the Royals. Roberto Hernandez, Royce Clayton. Got an Idols there. Ricky Henderson and Ken Griffey Jr. That's a pretty awesome card. Brian Barber, BJ Surhoff, Will Clark, Glenn Davis, Mike Boddicker, pitcher for the Royals, Jeff Reardon, and Dan Plesac. We won't go over our Royals cards, although those are some of my favorites. We'll first give a look at some of our sidelines cards here. We saw Ventura, the artist. Nolan Ryan, that's one of the better ones. Jack McDowell. Kirby Puckett, that's probably a pretty good one there. He's got another card behind him. He's got a Fernandez. Got a Bowling there. John Burkett. Kenny Lofton on the basketball. I think that's a neat card. Let's go through those real quick. Let's look at our idols here. Ken Griffey Jr., Robin Ventura, Wade Boggs and George Brett, Jim Abbott, Nolan Ryan, Ozzie and Knobloch twice. Got a couple of each of those there. And the shades. Bobby Bonilla, Chuck, Danny Tartables, Darryl Strawberry, Tartable again, Roberto Alomar, Bobby Bonilla, Chuck, Jay Buhner, there's Darryl again, Roberto Alomar, Bobby Bonilla, and Darryl Strawberry again. Got several of each of those, looks like. Pretty neat concept for cards, and these are what I would consider the better players that we pulled. Got a Nolan, Jeff Bagwell, Cal Ripken, Craig Biggio, Earl Hershiser, Howard Johnson, Ryan Sandberg, Darryl Strawberry, Roberto Alomar, Ryan again, Darryl, Greg Maddux, Manny Ramirez on the rookie, Derek Bell on the prospect rookie, Doc Gooden, Jim Thome, Ozzie Smith, Mark McGuire, Manny Ramirez, Barry Larkin, John Smoltz, Don Mattingly, Earl Hershiser, Frank Thomas, Craig Biggio, Doc Gooden, Jim Thome, another Mark McGuire, Cal Ripken, Wade Boggs, Deion Sanders, Cecil Fielder, Kirby Puckett, Jose Canseco, I think we only got one of those, John Manny, Barry, Lenny Dykstra, Paul Molitor, Tim Raines, I don't know why Perez is in there, Robin Yount, and the one card that we got as an insert that I think is pretty cool. That's a Barry Bonds, 8 out of 12, with Danny Tartable when he was with the Yankees on the other side. I think that's probably our main hit there in that break. Thanks for tuning in. Drop a comment if you saw something you liked. See if we can work something out to get that to you. Appreciate you coming by.